Stream elements. Light_candle is now live. Streaming art. 3D-ifying video game icons. Calicon. E. Light_candle. E. Light_candle. Boy. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Welcome. I'm not sure if y'all can hear my very crackly woodwick candle here, but it's nice, it's pleasant, it's sandalwood, which is a good way to be. Y'all are doing well? How's it going? I just last night got back from Denver, and it was lovely to see everybody there and chill out with a whole bunch of cats. And my little baby critters have been especially needy since I got back. Last night, the little baby Baron, I wonder if I can get him to come over here, um, sat right next to me and snuggled all night. And when I woke up this
I
morning,
bet they missed you.
he was sitting up by my head on my pillow and just purring his little baby head off. It was very good. We shall see if a baby shows up around here. But let me get some background music going. Let's see how that audio level is working. And I am prepared now for hydration. I've got my water with me. And I'm also not doing something where if I pause to drink, I will die, which is nice. Slightly lower stakes on a design stream than on a gaming stream. Give me 1 second. Oh, and I saw one baby boy walking around. Hey, buddy. Hey, baby Baron, do you want to come over here? Yeah, he does. Oh, hello. Here is the boy. Look at how big he's gotten. Look at how big this guy is. You were small when I left.
Baron.
I don't know what happened. He's just kind of sitting here and dealing with it. Hi, buddy. He was being a lapped cat earlier.
Small.
Oh, and there she goes. He runs away. Okay, let me switch over here. Basically, what I'm doing for today's stream is I have the wiki pulled up for Risk of Rain Returns. It's got all of the different items listed here, and I have kind of looked through and selected some items that I think would be good candidates to design, and we'll kind of work our way through the list. I know the first one I want to design is the Will-o'-the-Wisp, for a couple of reasons. For one thing is just a little guy, and I like that a lot. And we can do some fun stuff with like transparency in here. Yeah, so let's go, and as we go, I'll read like the descriptions of things. By the way, interesting little like controversy that I have the opportunity to speak on here. This wiki is hosted on wiki.gg, which is kind of a newer site.
It's good to see you all.
Welcome, Gigantor. Good to see you too. So wiki.gg has been showing up recently. However, in most cases, if you go and look up like Risk of Rain items, let's see, the first thing that pops up is going to be this page, Fandom. Fandom is kind of a weirdly predatory site these days. They will do a lot of weird ad integration into things, and you know, on the desktop site it's not too bad most of the time, but on the like phone site it is sometimes like basically unusable. So a lot of different games and such have been switching over to sites like wiki.gg and like transferring everything over, but they still have to fight with fandom for like proper placement in search algorithms. So lots of things like that will end up just still showing up in places where they ought not. So let me pull this Will-o'-the-Wisp over and save a little image of the friend.
Intellectual property concerns?
Yeah, so it's, I guess, not really an IP issue most of the time. Like, I can't speak too eloquently on that side of things. Here's the boy. Let's get that in there. Let's get this over here. And let's start designing a little wisp. I don't know what the like IP situation is like, but all of the information is like freely available from the games. So like there's no issue with having that stuff on there. It's just a matter of you know, using it appropriately. So let's see what we know about the will-o'-the-wisp. Found the little thing on my last hike up. Tiny guy, must be a baby. She? Doesn't seem to eat anything at all, so I'm hoping you guys can help the fella out. I don't think he can get out of the jar. It hasn't made any attempt to. Sent to a hidden cubby on Mount Creation, Venus. Priority shipping. And that's our little friend. So, I'm gonna do kind of like a center out approach on this. Let's figure out what we want the wisp itself to generally look like. I'm gonna start with kind of a circle sort of friend. And then we're gonna have some kind of wispy flames coming off of the top. We'll have to decide like exactly how we want to smooth things down and all of that, but let's just get something like something like that going on. I'd love to be able to manipulate these things a little bit more cohesively, a little bit more sensibly. I just don't know quite well enough how to do that yet. I mean, the flame is like very lo-fi in our initial thing here. We could do like this style of fire where it kind of comes up and then it like curves back down before coming back up again. And I don't want it to be like perfectly symmetrical or sensible or anything like that. I think that's pretty good. Give him a little flaming hairdo there. And then he's got his little eyes, which are just squares. What do the wisps look like in Risk of Rain 2? It'd be nice if there was navigation from here to the Risk of Rain 2 wiki. Let me do a little bit of searching. Oh, see, in here it's trying to get me to go to fandom again. The wisps kind of have just like goofy little eyes on them. They're typically pretty close to the bottom of the head, it seems. Maybe it's different for a baby. I don't know. But let's go ahead and Ah, no. Let's give him a couple of eyes. Sort of close to the bottom of the head. Like that. And we'll just take this and mirror it across. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this setup the way it is. I'm going to make this symmetrical, and I want it to have a decent bit of depth. And let's see, won't be able to really fillet it especially well, but here, let's just try to get all of the edges. Okay. Except I don't want those actually. I'd like to exclude the eyes from this process. Honestly, it might be better to kind of carve it from the sides, but let's see how this works. Can I do 0.8? Let's just double what it's at right now. That's pretty good. 1.2? Doesn't like that. How about just a 1? 0.9? Okay, 0.85. Okay, it really seems like 0.8 is exactly as much as it will handle. And I can do the same thing on the other side as well. And here I won't worry about the eyes as much. Just to kind of round this boy out. What if I do 2 distances and I do 0.8 this direction, but then I do like 1 this direction? Okay, 0.9. Okay, so this one has to be the 0.8, and this one I should be able to go further, but not that far. What if I just turn off tangent propagation? So what I'm trying to do here is I feel like I should be able to go further this other direction. Is it because of the eyes on this side? Is that the issue we're running into? Okay, we'll just keep it at that for now. I do want to smooth out this whole thing. And it's not liking that. Is it because of the eyes? How is this gonna look without edges? Yeah, that flat face is kind of goofy. Okay, I'm gonna rethink how I'm approaching this. Rather than going for a full-on extrusion, what I'm gonna do is a rotation. Let's do that. We'll just kind of cut this down the middle. And we'll be able to do some stuff to the top here to help us out. But let's start by just revolving this here to get like a little spherical body. Let's take the top here, and I'm going to extrude out this whole thing symmetrically but very thinly. Honestly, that's probably fine. One thing that I was thinking about doing is taking this and doing a little circular pattern about this central axis. Let's just do 2 of this pattern. Well, and I want it, say 180 degrees. Can I just say 90 degrees? Okay, there we go. Just so we've got some stuff going on with this from all of these different angles. Going back to this sketch here, I want to extrude and remove these eyes from part 1. Okay, and because I didn't originally rotate those eyes through, it has kind of an interesting effect here. I actually like that a lot, like how the eyes have a little bit more depth. There's like some stuff going on inside of the head there. Let's put this friend in a jar. And let's hide this sketch while we're at it. And I suppose I could turn on shaded with edges. So for the jar, we're going to start with just kind of a regular old rectangle. He's kind of floating a little bit off the base of the jar there, I notice. But the jar is fairly wide. The edges of the jar are kind of pulled in a little bit. It seems more angular at the top and more rounded at the bottom, but I think maybe I'll do something rounded for both sides. Like that. I want to give this jar a little bit of thickness, so I will offset all of these features inward. Oh, it's not gonna like that with these corners still existing, so let's take care of that. Now let's offset all of this inward. Oh, okay. Nope. Whoa. Let's... Sorry, bring that back. Oh, I guess it just totally removed the sketch. Oh, here. I just needed to restore it. Okay, so let's get in here. There are going to be a bunch of little extra bits of material. It looks like up here I avoided it, but that was the thing that it was really taking issue with. So now I should be able to take all of this and offset it, and yes, it's happy to do that. Jar doesn't have to be too thick, so we'll do something like that.
Gigantier 56. Where did the extra bits come from?
The extra bits came from the like overlap between that curved piece that I had and the sharp rectangle that I was building the curve on top of. So because I started out with that sharp
Check onto your
rectangle,
56.
we just had a little bit extra stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and this is going to be the lid, which is pretty hefty. I guess you'd want a pretty hefty lid if you're gonna put a wisp in a jar. I don't actually want that to be quite that sharp. Let's bring that up a fair bit. Yeah, see here you can see that same lip forming. And I could just fillet a lot of these things, but I'm kind of interested in the more like organic shapes that are going to come out of this. Okay, so this here I should give some thickness to, just as the top of the jar. And let's remove everything that I'm not actually going to want to rotate. So all of the like solid shapes now are the things that are actually going to become parts of this jar. So let's see how this works out for us. Right now, we can't see our boy in there at all, but what I can do is take this part, I can edit appearance, and I want this to be very transparent. Like so. And then I want the top of the jar here to actually have some more substance to it. So all of that, I'm going to make kind of this gray color and totally opaque. I'm gonna mess around with the transparency there a little bit. But we'll mostly wait on that until I'm figuring out like what this wisp looks like in general. I might add some like scorch marks to the bottom of this jar, for instance. So I might just take it from where it is right now and just darken the shape that's becoming transparent there. That also adds like a nice kind of bit of shadow to it. But let's hide the jar for now so we can work on the wisp itself. This body piece is kind of an orangish color. The eyes should be like a brighter, almost yellow. Can I select this interior curve also? I can. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. And then the flames, I kind of want a couple of different layers of flames here. So I'm gonna experiment with something. I want these to stay right where they are. This is part 2 and part 3. Let's actually just have this be an add so that all of that is part 2. These flames I'm going to make kind of a classic just reddish color, but I am going to experiment with some different like auras around this this wisp. So I'm gonna give them a couple of different transparent shells. Going up in like intensity and color. So let's see about just this first shell. And that's a new part. Right now it's hiding the whole thing, but I can just select this, edit appearance. I want to make these like very transparent. But I'm gonna do this kind of thing on top of it multiple times. So let's bring the sketch back. Let's now revolve this next shape about that central axis. Again, very transparent. Let's make this one yellower. Oh, see, there's some weird color stuff that's gonna go on here, so let's actually...
A Brennifer. He already looks so cool.
Thank you. Let's make this centerpiece red, because if we go with like a bluer color there, I think we're gonna run into trouble, just with like how these colors layer on top of each other. And then let's revolve this outer layer. And this one.
Lemon kind. Hello.
Hello, Lemon. Welcome. This one, orange is fine. Something like that. And I'll change like the shape of these layers. Like I don't necessarily want them to just be
Lemon.
totally
Gigantier 56.
circular around it.
Hi Lemon.
But that's generally what we've got going on right now. Maybe I want the glass to be a little bit more transparent.
Hi at a Brennifer and at Gigantier 56.
Now that I've got some more details going on inside of there. Lemon, how's it going? What are you up to? But let's do something about these different layers, because I don't want them to just be perfectly circular all the way around. That's kind of an interesting effect. It is indeed wisp time.
Kind. Wisp time.
So that is the shape I wanted for that one. That's pretty much the shape I wanted there. This one though seems to be doing the opposite portion of what I want from it. I actually want this section. So it's got some more kind of directional stuff going on there. It's got some more edginess. I think that all around that's looking better than it was before. And then we've got to add these like pools of fire around the base and all of that. So let's go ahead and work on that. I'm going to work on that inside of this sketch. So let's just do something like this, maybe. We'll see how this looks when we really get to it. But I think that'll add a certain je ne sais quoi. Just making sure I didn't rotate that piece initially. Now, let's revolve this around this axis. Got kind of our bowl shape there. And this whole thing I'm going to make a little bit transparent, very deep red. Let's make that a little bit more transparent. And let's go for like more of an orange. I think we want some more light in this piece overall. And I honestly might want to do something like that kind of around the edges in general. I don't know. What are we thinking about this boy so far? I feel like something's missing here. I just don't quite know what it is. When we have it with edges, that's what it looks like, which is just kind of messy. This is definitely something that should not have edges to it. I think we need more color kind of up around the rest of these edges. I'm just going to make it like very light.
Lemon kind. Maybe an orange hue of the glass or a larger orange hue in general.
I think that that's a good idea. Here, I'm going to add just kind of another rotated fire aura thing around this boy. Like so. Let's see, can I offset all of this in very slightly? Or out, let's do that. And that. Okay. I want to hide the jar, but show this sketch. We're going to revolve this around this axis. What are you complaining about? Would create a self-intersecting part. Oh, I see. So that base piece is actually going through the plane. Where this top piece is. Here, let's try that revolution now. Okay, it likes that. It's kind of a goofy shape, but when we bring the transparency way down, that adds just something dynamic to this boy. it's not perfect, but it is like adding a little bit of flame to it. And I think I will take your advice here, Lemon, and rather than making the glass like perfectly clear, adding a little bit of that orange tint to it, I think makes a difference. And then if I really want to get that like Risk of Rain item feel to this, one thing that I could do, I think would be kind of fun. Let's do a little offset to okay, so this I need to trim away real quick. Trim that. Do a little bit of movie magic. Trim this. Okay, now I should be able to... Oh, let me get rid of the things that I already offset here. So now I should be able to select just these pieces. Do something like that. I do need to make this solid. So that now I can extrude this out symmetrically, just the tiniest bit. Or maybe I want to do a revolve on this, actually. So, I don't think this is going to look great, but I am going to experiment with it. What I want to do here is just add an outline to this because it's a green item. That's not going to work out the way I have it set up there with a revolve. So what we need to do instead is a small extrusion. Make this symmetrical, make it very thin. Let's mirror this whole piece across this plane and add it to the piece that we already have there. And let's make this kind of a bright green. So now when we're looking head on at it, this is the green item Will-o'-the-wisp. I've put the eyes on the back side of it, but that works out. The jar should be a little bit taller, but I can live with it as it is.
Nice.
Okay, let me see this. Okay. What item do we want to do next? I've got lots of different options here. And let me move my camera out of the way for this portion at the very least. So we've got the Captain's Brooch, which just has a very pretty design to it. It's very, like, geometric. And one thing that I like about designing things from this pixel art is that in some cases it's kind of ambiguous what's going on there. Like, you know, I know we've got the kind of ship steering wheel in the back, but then these look to be maybe like feathers, and this in the middle looks like a Pokeball to me. Or a chest. I think that's a chest, actually. Okay, so that's an option. We've got the Ancient Scepter, which is, I think, one of the coolest items in the game, and would also give us the opportunity to do some transparency stuff. We've got the Hyper Threader, which is like kind of an alien weapon. Laser Turbine. What is going on here, Yukar? Laser Turbine. ATG Missile Mark II. The Charge Field Generator, which is like a pretty simple design, but I think one of my favorite items in the game. And I mean, we could go through and look at some others, but I think these are some good options. I think the Charge Field Generator is going to be one of the easier ones to design. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up next. And that'll be our next project here. Also a green item. Let's see. I think this is going to be easiest to do with a loft, because it kind of like carves down.
That was my choice too.
Or I could do some like selective chamfering, but I think a loft might be the coolest way to do this. So for the back piece here, we've got kind of a big circular like core, and then we have this hexagonal thing going on, where on each end of the hexagon we've got kind of these here, I'll start on this side. We've got these bits coming out maybe about that far and rounded down at the ends. Oh, it doesn't like it being that far through. Okay. Let's bring you down to 0.6. Is that agreeable? 0.5? I guess it's not like perfectly rounded at the end. Okay, so that I will take and do a circular pattern with. And we want 6 of them. Okay, that looks just about perfect for the back piece of this. Now what I want to do is take all of these sketch elements, copy sketch entities, and for the front half we're just going to kind of manipulate things. So this sketch is good as is. I'm now going to create an offset plane from this going forward, maybe about yay far. And I'm going to create a sketch on this new plane. And I want to paste these sketch entities. I would love to have them just perfectly lined up. That's goofy. That's some goofy behavior you've got going on. Sketch entities. It's pretty, but it's not what I want you to do. Let's take this whole thing. Okay, it doesn't want to let me move the whole thing, so let me... Is that perfectly lined up? It's not perfectly lined up. That bothers me. I would love for there to be a way to set it to perfectly line up. Honestly, maybe what I should do is copy this sketch and then on plane 1, can I say paste sketch? Now why is this sketch off-center? It should be perfectly lined up right here. And this one is centered at the origin. You know what, I'm probably... If I knew how to like diagnose and solve that problem, it really would be easier to go through and solve it that way. But instead what I'm gonna do is just like rework that shape pretty much from scratch. So in this case, we don't really have like full rectangular things going on. They keep pretty much the same width, but now along the edge they're
enjoying the stream?
Just small.
Don't forget to follow to catch me later. Subscribe if you are into that kind of thing.
So I think that's gonna be good there. I'm probably gonna want to go back and actually make these fillets smaller. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let me trim that all away. Now we're gonna do another circular pattern of these about that center point. Still want 6 of them. And let's go back to this initial sketch because I want to make sure that all of these are one part. Same thing with this sketch here. Because what we're going to do when we loft these things is basically tell it, I want this shape in the back to connect with this shape in the front. Figure it out. And it figures it out. And it actually did a pretty good job of figuring it out in this case. Now what I can do is shell the front face to the thickness that I want. I'm gonna go maybe with 0.5. I do like that kind of ridge shape on the inside there. So yeah, I think 0.5 is just about perfect. And then we've got kind of our central eye thing going on. So on this internal piece, this is gonna come out maybe about that far. It seems pretty deeply set in there. And then on this front face, we have a couple of different shapes that I want to cut out. So we've got this little kind of gray ring. Then we've got the blue ring in the center here. Or the blue and then the white in the center. So what I'm going to do is just take these and remove a tiny bit of material. And already this is looking pretty darn close. It helps that in this case, like, colors are going to be way less of a concern for us. So let's go ahead and start working on the coloring work here. One thing I could have done here that might, like, technically save me a little bit of time. Oh, and actually I don't want to select these. I want those to be slightly different. One thing that I could have done is just figured out what one, like, quadrant of this thing needed to look like, and then do a pattern spinning that whole thing around. That would save me some time in theory. In practice, though, I think it would end up being more work. These are kind of a periwinkle color. I think there's something a little bit like that, maybe a little bit darker. I might just keep these the color that they are right now. Although the body of this is kind of more silver, so let me... I'm just going to tell these to stay the same color that they are currently. I think that's going to be my best bet. You all are going to be that color. So now I can go in here, I can edit the appearance for the entire part, and tell it to be more silvery. I think that's going to help the rest of the colors I put on this pop a little bit more too. And to simulate a little bit of shading here, well, I was going to say I'd take this face and make it lighter. Let's see what that looks like. I think that helps a little bit. And along that same note, let's take this back face and make it a little bit darker. Because it should be darker. It's like kind of shaded in there.
Magbahagi and I made esquits. Do you know esquits?
Is that supposed to be pronounced esquites? Or is it actually esquits, as Restream suggests? In either case, I do not know esquites or esquits.
Lemonkind.
Let's darken this down.
No, you were right.
It is esquites? I don't know them. Tell me what they're like. This is gonna have to be a lighter blue.
Do you know elote?
Elote? Yeah. That gray can stay gray. This should really be the same color as the piece that I just set up. And then the center is going to be kind of as bright as I can get it.
Esquits is like the corn from elote but in a cup.
I
Lemonkind.
hate how
also known as elote in a cup.
Restream is pronouncing all of this. Esquits is like corn from elote but in a cup. Oh, that's bad. It sounds like a tasty meal though. Let's see, I think this might just be our charge field generator. Oh, though, you know, what I should do is the same thing that I did before. Give this thing a little bit of a border, a little bit of green. In this case, the item really is like one-sided though. So I'll put that there. So there we have our charge field generator. We've got our will-o'-the-wisp.
A Brennifer. Very good.
Yeah, I'm pleased. In this case, I suppose I could make this part a little bit transparent. And I wonder what this looks like without the edges. That's kind of cool. It's kind of nice. I think the proportions worked out well. I'm very pleased that like the lofting that I did to it worked as well as it did. I think that's just a good boy all around. Speaking of good boys, before we get on to the next design here, let me scoop up a tiny little creature who has been sitting under my desk this whole time. Hey, you. You're kind of big for a tiny little creature. Kind of a large little one. My baby cactus. Hey, buddy. Hi, you.
A Brennifer.
Oh, there he goes.
Scoop him.
He's been scooped. Now he nibbles. Buddy. Goofy little
A
guy.
Brennifer. Cactus
Oh,
baby.
he's got a knuckle. He's gone. He's in the Knuckleverse now. Oh, buddy. Yeah, he's lost. Look at his little eyes. Cactus has left the building. He's not here. He's elsewhere on a mission, protecting the Knuckleverse. What a goofball. My goodness, buddy. Okay, you can continue to be a lap cat, but I will need my knuckles every now and then. You want to continue to be a lap cat?
A Brennifer. Zoned.
Zoned. Gone. Cactus has left the building. Oh, but his cheeks are so soft. My goodness, buddy. Okay, let's see what we're gonna design next. ETG. I'm thinking either the Hyper Threader or the Ancient Scepter. Which one do we want to design next? And then we'll wrap up with the Captain's Brooch. I think we'll, at the pace we're at right now, doing like 2 more designs will be good. Hyper Threader
Lemonkind.
or
Scepter.
Scepter?
Gigantier 56.
Yeah,
Scepter.
let's do the Scepter. The Scepter is such a cool item because it has a different effect for every survivor. Like, it takes whatever skill they have and just like basically improves them in some way. Okay, buddy, I'm gonna set you down. Thank you for being such a sweet little guy. Yeah, so it's just a really neat tool in every survivor's kit. So let's figure out how to make it. I think this is actually going to look pretty similar to the time that I designed the Master Sword. There's going to be a lot of different like layers to this project. But let's start with kind of a rough sketch just to get an idea of what's going on here. And I'm going to mirror everything so that I don't have to worry about making things perfectly symmetrical. So we've got the back of the scepter. Kind of has this blade to it. Then there's... I would love to be able to make this go onto the same line. Okay, there we go. There's this that goes kind of up and over and back. Then we've got the main sort of handle of the scepter here. It is a very like short scepter unless it's like pointing at us at an angle, which it might be because we've got that like foreshortening on the back piece of the scepter. So maybe I should do like a full scale scepter here. Make it make a little bit more sense. Yeah, let's do that. So this comes up here. Then it kind of halts pretty flatly across before going up into like these wings, basically. It is, yeah, just kind of a wing shape. And I think I'm going to go back through once I've roughed this and figure out like exactly what proportions I want and like maybe smooth some of these curves out. We've got that like so. The gem comes up past the wings and stops in a pretty sharp edge there. Take that all the way down. The wing here kind of goes up and over and then into this shape that kind of rests on top of the scepter itself, on top of the gem. I'd like this to be in line with that. I might just have to mess around with that manually, or just simply don't do that at all. So we've got kind of that shape there. All of that is like the hilt of this scepter. Going down the center of the scepter, we have a little bit of a like ridge pattern here. I'm gonna say this should also be 6.07. Oh, nope. 0.607 is what I should have gone for there. Now, why did you adjust the entire scepter to do that? That seems unwise. Just getting updates on my partner's flight. Let's see, this is good. let's do a little linear pattern. Not that direction. We actually want just one in that direction. We want 6 in this direction. That seems pretty appropriate. Let's bring them up just a little bit, because then down here we have another kind of rectangular shape. Okay, I think this is looking pretty good. I think I might wait until I've made this three-dimensional to really like mess with the rest of the edges there. And like smooth things out. Yeah, so let's go ahead and I'm going to continue to work on it as like a half scepter until we've gotten to the point where we can really start working with it more deeply. And I want this part of the scepter, I think, actually to be rounded. So instead of putting these details on the inside of the scepter, what I should do is put smaller, shallower bumps along the outside. Let's linear pattern this. We want that to be done in this direction, actually. This should be a ×1. These are larger, so let's do 3. Let's do 4. And then just shrink it up to bring it to where we want it. And now just to give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more something going on. We'll see how that looks when we like actually do it. But now let me extrude this outward symmetrically. Say about that far. Let's revolve this about this center point. Okay, so I think before I do any of that, I do actually want to take this whole thing and mirror it. That makes the top of the scepter look very heavy. That looks a little bit better. I could still probably take this center part and elongate it, but we'll see just how this feels for now. Again, like right now, I'm really just working on getting these vague shapes in here. It's gonna be a little while before we really earnestly start to define these things. Let's get that like so. Of course, the crystal itself. We want to be a little bit thinner. And then this needs to be a little bit wider to hold those things in place. So I mean, that's pretty much what we're going for shape-wise here. See, from this angle, does it behave the way we expect it to? I'd say so. I'd say this is doing what we want it to. So let's start messing with some edges here. Pull those up. Pull those in. Okay, the proportions on that crystal are almost perfect, where it's like just the narrowest little bit remains up there. Okay, I'm liking that for the top of the scepter. I think that that is almost like right where we need it to be. This here, I would like to make a much shallower chamferon. And I should probably, honestly, if I could, do that chamfer on these sides in general. I think that does something. That's helpful. Like anytime there's just that large of a flat side to something, I don't know if I'd describe it as like breaking suspension of disbelief, but it just seems like it ought to have some more definition to it. Okay, I can just select all of those faces there. Down here at the bottom, this is supposed to be sharp. I'm gonna say maybe 0.25, 0.26. This is not the most scientific way to do this, but that's gotten it down to pretty sharp. Where this is gonna get real cool is when we get into like actually shading things a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. I want all of this crystal piece, including these tiny little edges sneaking about.
Stream elements.
I want all of that.
Join my Discord. https://discord.gg/snitchfucky.
To be kind of this amethyst color and transparent. That's cool. It's interesting that it's making this whole thing look kind of hollow. Like you can see all the way through it. But we just won't look at it from that angle and we'll be fine. The rest of this, I want to be kind of grayer and kind of a blued gray. I think that's just about where we want it. This blade down at the bottom is going to be kind of an ivory white. And we have some like kind of purple accents on this, but it really seems to just be like lighting from the scepter itself. So I don't know what I want to do as far as shading goes there. I could definitely take some of these inside pieces and darken them. What else do I want here? I want this hilt to look a little bit better. Right now it's just not doing a whole lot for me. Maybe I want some like more defined ridges to it. No, let's not do that. Let's see what I can do to it in post. Can I come in here, select all of this, and do some chamfering? Nope, it doesn't really like that. Maybe if I just added some like bands of color here, that would help. Just a little something there. And let's, going back to my appearance panel, let's take this here and see Does it need to be all that transparent? A little bit darker seems to do it some good. I'm trying to get that like foreshortened angle just to line things up here. It's pretty satisfying as is, I've got to say. How does it look without edges? I think because of like the geometry on this crystal, it really sort of needs edges to work. So it's interesting to see that in the same game we can have some designs that really need those edges to be functional, and some designs that really need to not have them. Now, for the bit where we give this thing an outline. Here, let's get back into the sketch here. Trim this way, because I don't think we did anything with it. Yeah, that's not messing up anything from the design. Oh, this is messing some stuff up for us though, and we do actually need those lines. So what I should be able to do is just trim this and then reconnect this. Is that going to give me any issues? No. Okay, good. This spot here is also going to give me that same problem. This down here should not. This here is going to. And then none of the rest should. Okay. So now I can actually Where are you taking issue with this? Okay. It's interesting like how this is overlapping the offset in a couple of places. Okay, that looks to be just about what we want. Now all I need to do, and I keep going back to that image, for one thing, sometimes because I just forget that pressing the green check mark takes me out of the sketch, and also because in some cases I need to just make sure that I haven't broken anything too severely. So let's take this. This is new, this is symmetric, this is very thin. Let's take this whole thing and we're going to mirror it across this plane. We're going to add it to that piece so it's all part 2. It's going to be red. And I want it to be more aggressively red than that, I think. Maybe I want the offset to actually be slightly smaller. I'm going to call this a 0.25. Is it going to freak out at that?
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Okay, I guess this offset zone here is just kind of goofy. Well, that's fine. We have in our possession here the scepter, which I think turned out quite nice. So we've done the Will-o'-the-Wisp, this cute little guy.
Brennifer. That looks great.
Done the charge field generator, and now we have done the scepter, the ancient scepter. Let me rename this just to
56.
keep my conventions
Very
here.
good.
Thank you. I think it's I like this style of thing. It reminds me a lot, like I said, of working on the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda. It's just nice. So let's go to our final design of the day, which is going to be this Captain's Brooch. Let me pull that over here. I think this is going to be a fun one to create as well. There were, like I said, a bunch of items that I think especially in the white tier just wouldn't be terribly exciting to make just because they're like regular old things. But some of these designs I think are really neat. So this is also going to be a sketch or a design that I want to do in some different discrete parts. So I'm definitely going to start with just this kind of wheel at the back. And that'll give me an idea of like scale for everything else. We've got this kind of central axis here. I want to say that's a pretty good size for it. We'll see. And let's go ahead and do a circular pattern of this shape. Yeah, just those 3 times. I can get rid of any excess here right away. Save myself some headache later. That's just an honest-to-goodness wheel. And the reason that I didn't do the like arrowheads around the outside yet is because, well, I guess it's only the top that has like the ring to it. So let's actually do one of the kind of pointed pieces down here. And then I'm going to do a couple of things with it. I'm going to say, first of all, I'm going to mirror all of this across. Let's trim this middle bit out. And then I'm going to do a circular pattern of all of this. This time we actually want it to be done 6 times. And I'm just going to get rid of this top one in favor of that ring shape. This little line here. Okay, that all should be symmetrical. I've kind of eyeballed it. And let's use our favorite friend here, the offset tool, to just create the hole at the center of this. Okay. All of that seems good. Is there anything that I want to mess around with here? If I shrink one of these down, is that going to shrink down the rest? No. I think the scale on those is fine. What I could do is pull this further outward. That feels a little bit better. I like how flexible some of these things are. Okay, so we've got all this. Let's go ahead and take this into 3D. What happened to your little offset bit up here, friend? Let's get that back. What are you doing? Okay, that's good. Yes, 0.4 is fine. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that piece disappeared. Maybe I did something to it. Let's take this out. This is actually going to be another like flat design on the back. So this will come up maybe a little bit more than you'd think. Like so. And then let's extrude all of the rest of this up, with the exception of this and these. And that goes up a smaller amount to stay well behind the wheel. We've got then just the feathers and the chest. And the feathers are decidedly in front of the wheel here, so I'm actually going to sketch them on this layer, just in between, so that they're a little bit through the wheel, but not entirely. They kind of come from here, just about, and curve up towards... Oh, I gave this thing 6 rings when it really should have 8. How badly do I want to fix that? Kinda badly. I think it's gonna be a quick fix. Here, we just need to delete all of this and all of this over here. Okay, so just take this bottom one. And we're going to circular pattern 8 of you. Okay. And it actually addressed that pretty well. I am going to go back in here and get rid of that. But then all of the rest of this should be exactly where it ought to be, which is nice. That kind of tweak is something that in the past has ended up being a lot more complicated for me than I would have liked. But with new technology is much, much faster to address. Okay, now for the sketch. Let me just make sure I'm making that sketch on the correct plane. Okay. The feather starts off kind of down near the base and curves up until it's just about at the top there. It's got a pretty gentle curve to it through the center. I'm going to put a decent bit of effort into this on one side because everything I do here is something I don't have to do on the other side because I can just mirror it from there. This is going to be kind of a nice gentle curve. Goes up and through, kind of softens out. Near the top here, it is just kind of one flat shape before it curves back down to here and then down and through. What do we think about that shape overall for the feather? Like, I will come in and I think that's nice. Like, it definitely needs more detail. I need to cut out the different sections. It helps that it's pretty low definition here, so I can afford to do things like...
Good feather shape.
Thank you. Can afford to do things like just cut out one tiny section here. This becomes its own feather. It's interesting to see how different games, different properties, different like art styles in general will do things like feathers and flames, because there are so many different ways to express that same idea. Along the bottom here, we can't really see that same definition, but I think it'll still be valuable to trim this thing into feathers. There are certain things that you can get away with in a 2D image, especially with such limited pixels, that you really can't get away with quite as easily in a 3D design. This thing needs to stand up to some higher scrutiny. This last feather, I'll be pretty content. Maybe one more up here. And I do want this like ridge through the center of the feather to be three-dimensional. I don't know yet like quite how I'll want to express that in the extrusion process, but right now I do want that to be a separate feature. Here, and let's go ahead and trim out the tops of each of these feather bits.
What's this song?
Oh, I don't know. It's lo-fi, chilled, DMCA-free beats at 1 hour 43 minutes 11 seconds.
Lemon kind. I like it.
Yeah.
Smiley face.
I'll play this in my classroom sometimes, and it's you know, very mellow. Just some soft bending of the strings on a guitar. I think, what if I carved that out entirely? Let's see what this looks like.
A Brennifer. Makes me think of Dave Brubeck.
What are you complaining about here? There's some microscopic feature going on. Okay, that it really didn't like. That's looking like a pretty good feather to me. It definitely doesn't need to be that thick. I think that's good, and we'll do some chamfering to it, of course. I'm gonna call this a new object for now, just so that I can take this and mirror it across the right plane, and then we'll add them to part 1 there. But I think that turned out pretty nice. Let's actually, before we do this mirroring, see what we want to do as far as chamfering this down. I think if I do a shallow chamfer along the top edge there, and then a deeper chamfer along the base, that'll be good. Let's call this like 0.5 maybe. I do like that, it just means I need to extrude this out a tiny bit further. And let's actually remove that bottom edge from what we're doing.
Stream elements.
I would really like
Watch
to
my
just
design
do
VODs on YouTube.
that.
youtube.com/@lightcandle/videos.
Okay, if we're gonna do that, then to be consistent, we need to do that as well. And it doesn't seem to want us to do that, so let's just... I think that's good. I think that that's fine. Is there anything I want to do along this edge? How's that? It adds some definition, like it definitely grabs attention, but not necessarily in a way I would want it to. So I think I'm gonna call that sufficient on the feather. And all that leaves is the chest in the middle. So let's sketch that onto this same kind of frame here. And we're kind of looking down on this thing at a slight angle. So I think it's actually going to be pretty friendly to create. It should be like just about perfectly centered. It's somewhat behind the feathers there, which tells me it's going to be pretty shallow. But I can still get the design ideas that I want to across with the space that I have. This is going to get cut straight across. We do have kind of a Pokeball thing going on here, where there's like a little buckle in the middle. Let's trim this away here. We have these kinds of ridges across the top. And let's just mirror this over to the other side. And that might kind of be it. That might just be the thing. I'm just widening that to make it a little bit more defined. But then let's okay, what piece of this process are you not liking? Is it these little baby corners? Is that what you're taking issue with? Kinda seems like that's what it was taking issue with. thing is, I would like to actually do these bits separately. If I can do that without it yelling at me, that'd be great. Okay, that seems fine. And let me actually keep this as a new piece for now, so that I can do some messing around with it. Then over here, let me extrude out these bits slightly further. Let me extrude out these bits slightly less far. And I do want to actually round out these edges up top. And do I want to round out the sides of this as well? I guess I don't. I think that's gonna read as chest. Let's turn that into just kind of a little latch there. Okay, so now I can actually go in and do some color work with this. To start out with, I'm going to take all of these parts and make them the same kind of bright gold color. And then we can go in and like really work the details here. Now this color is kind of hard to look at, but that's okay. These need to be lighter. This button in the center needs to be pretty much white. This base piece is slightly darker. The feathers have an interesting thing where the top of the feather is darker than the bottom of the feather. So I think what I might want to do is really quickly cut these feathers like in half. How's this going to look without edges? I'm just trying to debate. I'm debating if I want to go through that, because it'll add a sharp line here. I think it'll be worthwhile though. Let's yeah, let's go back to this here. Let's actually do a little curve going up to the edge of the feather, like so. And we'll include this also in the extrusion. We'll actually have to do this extrusion in two parts. So one part gets us that, and then one extrusion gets us this down here. Oh, I don't want it to be that far out. And I actually want it to be exactly as far out as the other extrusion, so 1.03. Okay, and that will work itself out in a little bit, but let's just like we did it before, chamfer all of this down. This edge is going to be awkward, but I don't yet know of a good way to deal with that. We might have to mess around with it a little bit. This I want to be like 0.5. Is that what I had it set to? I think so. And honestly, that kind of mostly dealt with our problem up there. We did all of that just so that we could make the shading on these two different parts of the feather slightly different. Let's mirror this and this across this plane. We're adding them on. Oh, actually, I need to... So if I add them on like that, then it all just becomes one part again, and the work that I did is kind of moot. Let me think about this. I could... No, let's add these as a new piece. Or maybe add, but merge with just each other. Can I do that? Okay, now that's dealt with the one little weird piece there. That pop of blue is actually kind of cool. I like that. But let's take these pieces and edit appearance. Let's make these
Gigantier 56.
Slightly lighter than the regular base.
I like the blue too.
So, yeah, I think it would be fun to, at some point, go back through some of the things that I've designed and just, like, recolor. See what kinds of different shades we can come up with. And one of the nice things is that that's actually a lot easier to do with the appearance panel. Okay, I think I actually want these sides to also be the lighter yellow color at the top there. And then I want to have these spokes and these outer pieces slightly darker. The wheel itself, I think, is good at the color that it has right now. I'm really happy with how this one went. What do we think? I mean, one thing that's missing here is, like, I really could pull the spokes here on the wheel a little bit out so that I could recolor them slightly lighter than the rest of the thing. And one other thing that I could do going into this little section here, it really wants that to be like totally black. I don't think that that would fit very well with what we're trying to do though. I think that this is nice. Let's see, without edges. Yeah, I prefer it with the edges here, and I think that the initial design kind of encourages that.
A Brennifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
I'm pleased with how the feathers turned out here, and I feel like I learned just kind of how to do feathers by messing around with this. So, yeah, I think that's a nice design. This is the Captain's Brooch. So we've got...
Kind. Looks good.
Thank you. The Ancient Scepter. And I guess we could give this like an orange outline if we wanted to. No, I think that's going to end up being more work than it's worth, and it already... Oh no, actually there's a super easy way to do this. And this is something that I was actually thinking about when I set the back to be this flat shape. So what I can do is create a sketch on this back face, and then offset Lemon, how did the food turn out? Have you eaten it yet?
Lemon kind. It was delicious.
Very good.
Lemon kind. Very good.
Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna set this to, let's say, 0.36, because I also want to do offsets on these inside pieces. No, that's gonna be a lot. Okay, it's gonna be a lot, but I think it's gonna be worth it too. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about it when I'm done. This is just for consistent design language here. We have put the borders around the rest of the objects. Now we need to put the borders around this one. Okay, so what I should be able to do is just select this outside border. Kind of cool having that whole outline to it. I want this to be very thin. 0.01, how about? And this is all new objects. This is parts 8 and onward. So parts 8 through 16 are gonna get this kind of gold transparency to them. I guess it really should be like a redder orange. Here, let's go back over to here. I don't want it to be quite as pink as that. I think that's more what we're looking for. I think the captain's brooch was the nicest thing that I designed today. I might actually 3D print this out just because it's set up to be really nice to print. If I wanted to make it easier to print, then I could take these portions back here and really like pull them all the way back. Just all of these shapes.
Feather. Would make a cool pin too.
It would. It's literally a brooch. So I think that this was a pretty successful stream. Lots of cool designs went down. We got the Will-o'-the-Wisp, this friendly little guy sitting in his jar. The charge field generator.
Jay-Z Feather. Small bean.
Indeed. The ancient scepter and the captain's brooch. And we kind of like ramped up complexity
cool.
and got to work with some different tools, some shading, some extra transparency stuff. So I am very pleased with how this went overall. Well, folks, thanks for being here and hanging out. Skelly Boy and Knuckles just chilling in the background. Let me scoop up a baby Baron who is sleeping on the couch right now. And we will say good night. Hey, baby Baron boy. Hey, little rat. Little kangaroo rat guy.
A Brennifer. Baby Baron.
Oh, here's the dude.
Gigantier 56.
Here's
Baby
the
Baron.
smallest friend he ever did see. Even if he is getting bigger. Goodness, you're soft.
Lemon kind. Baby
Oh,
Baron.
and he's eepy.
A Brennifer. Thank you for another fun
Little
stream.
dude.
Jay-Z Feather. What a good little face.
Hey, bud. Bless you. What a sneeze.
A Brennifer. Kisses to SleevIG children.
Must you go? You have a mission to go on? Yeah. With his little raptor shriek.
Lemon kind. He cry.
He does. He cries like a dinosaur. A very tiny dinosaur. A tinosaur. Folks, thanks for being here. I'm going to
Gigantier 56.
post
a
all
good
of
night,
the images from this stream, all of the things that I designed, into the design portion of the Discord. So if you have not yet joined and you're interested in joining and getting updates on my streams or anything like that, then go ahead and go do that.
Discord.
But
Stream
I hope
elements.
everyone has a fantastic
Join
night,
Candle's Discord server.
and I will let you know there next time I stream. It should be sometime this week. Adios.
Lemonkind. Thank you. See
Let
y'all.
me go over to my ending
night,
music
everyone.
here. Yeah. Good night, everybody. Oh, another chirp.